Hello, everyone, and welcome to Focus Activity 10 to 13, Achievement. This lesson is around 15 minutes long, and if you have any questions, please write in the comments section, and I can try and answer them. Let's begin. In this focus activity, we look at discussing success, idioms about accomplishment, and phrasal verbs without. Okay, so discussing success, the definition, what do you think success is? How do you measure success? Who is successful in your life? Things like that. Idioms about accomplishment. Okay, these are phrases that are associated with accomplishments and success. And then phrasal verbs without. For example, outperform, outshine, outdo, outperform, these types of phrasal verbs. Let's begin. A blockbuster. Do you know what a blockbuster is? A blockbuster is something exciting and something that everyone is. It's normally associated with a film. Okay, it's a blockbuster. It's an adjective. Okay. Well, number one. How do people become successful? What does it take? How do people become successful? This is a very general question. In my opinion, to become successful is to be happy with what you achieve or with what you have. What does it take? What do you think? How do people become successful, and what does it take for you? Please feel free to write in the comment section, and I can try and answer you to the best of my ability. How do people become successful, and what does it take? For me, it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of passion, and a lot of hard work to become successful. What about you? Please feel free to let me know what you think in the comment section. Number two. How do you measure success? How do you measure success? Do you think success is if you have a lot of money, if you have a lot of friends, if you are very popular, if you are very important in government? How do you personally measure success? And do you think how you measure success is the same as how other people measure success? For me, the measure of success is how happy and how if you are fulfilled with what you have, how you feel, what you are. Okay. Prepared in their field. Okay. So there's a general. So prepared in their field, for example, in work or in football or in whatever it might be. Okay. Who is the most successful person that you know? What makes them successful? Difficult. I think the most successful person that I know is my father, because he is happy with everything that he has. He is happy with his friends, with his work, with his lifestyle, with everything in his life, really. So I think that because he is happy with every field or every aspect of his life, he is the most successful person that I know. What about you? Who's the most successful person that you know? Is it a celebrity or a friend or a family member? What makes them successful? Is it the money they have? Is it the popularity? Is it the importance? You tell me. You can write in the comment section what you think. Okay. Most successful person is your brother because he is free. Interesting. In what sense is he free? Is he... free spirit. Ah, he is successful in his life. He is content with everything. Okay. That's a nice idea. It's a nice context, and it's a good understanding of the questions. If you have any questions, travels around the world. Wow. Your brother is a very lucky person. Okay. Let's continue with the next slide. Remember, if you have any questions, please write and I can try and answer to the best of my ability. On top of the world. On top of the world. On top of the world is the feeling when you are the happiest you can feel. For example, I'm on top of the world. I'm the best. I am so happy. Normally in this focus activity, we play a video, but to play the video is extremely difficult because it is an online lesson. So for us, we can simply ask and answer these questions. So how do you define the nature of success? How do you define the nature of success? What does success mean to you? If you like, you can write your answers in the comment section. So what does success mean to you? For me, success is the idea that you are happy with what you have, or you are content in what you are doing, who you are, what you have. You are successful if you are happy, I think. What do you think in society, what do we tend to think success is? Okay, that's a big part of success. To achieve your goals is the moment that you are successful. In society, what do we tend to think success is? How does society measure success? How does society measure success? Is it by money or by popularity or importance, or is it something else? What do you think society thinks success is? For me, I think society thinks success is about popularity and by money. The more money you have, I think the more people think you are successful. Money and fame. Yeah. Okay. Nice answers, Fabrizio. And I think it's Luca, but all I can read is my Luca Ricci. So, nice answers from both of you. Do you think most people measure success by money and fame? Or do you think they have a different measurement for success? What do you think? Do you think they have a different measurement for success? Or do they measure success in this way? I think personally, most people think of success in a very personal way. I think success and its definition changes from person to person. So maybe my definition of success is different to your definition of success. Therefore, I don't think most people think success is only money and fame. Okay. What can we be successful at? According to the film that we cannot watch, you can be successful at everything. You can be successful at everything. For example, you can be successful at cleaning the house, or successful at driving the car, playing football. You can be successful at work. Yeah. Success with the agreement of others. That, for me, is a particular type of success. So, do you think you can be a successful person if you are only successful at your job? Or do you think success is being good at lots of different things? Do you think you need to be successful with friends, with your job, with your money? Do you think you need to be successful at everything, or only a little bit successful at everything, or do you only need to be successful at one thing? What do you think? What do you think? For me, I think to be successful, you need to have a good balance. Yeah, I think for me, success is about a balance of things. Oh, to be truly the epitome, the top of successful, I think you need to be successful at different things. So with friends, with your pastimes, with work, with your family. Okay, I think you need to have lots of different things. Why do you think it's difficult for a person to succeed at many different things? Why do you think it's difficult for a person to succeed at many different things? Personally, I think it's difficult because some activities and some things require more dedication and more sacrifice. In order to have a successful career, you need to reduce time with your family sometimes. It's difficult to succeed at lots of different things because we are only human. Some people are not good at football because they don't have the natural talent of football. Ooh, interesting point, Fabrizio. Difficult to succeed depending on what kind of goal you want to reach. Yeah, a nice example. For me, it's when you try and be successful at everything, there is a tendency to not be successful at anything. To be successful, I think you need to put a lot of hard work, dedication, passion, and the most important thing, time. And unfortunately, there are only 24 hours in the day. Yeah, depends on the effort that you invest in something. Exactly. Really good point. Nice ideas from everyone there. If you have any questions, please write down and I can try and answer them to the best of my ability. Let's continue. Rags to riches. This is the slide with the idioms, the phrases. I agree, Fabrizio. I think there is a tendency to try everything, even if you are not appropriate or you don't have the necessary skills for it. I think there is a big tendency to try desperately to find something you are successful at instead of maybe change your mind as to what you think success is. But the idioms of accomplishments and achievements. Rags to riches. The idioms are rags to riches, move up in the world, leaps and bounds, come a long way, ahead of the pack, front runner, and top dog. Do you know all of these idioms, or are some of them unfamiliar to you? For example, top dog, front runner, and ahead of the back, they all mean the same thing. They are synonyms. They mean you are number one. For example, you are the front runner or the top dog or ahead of the pack if you are better than the other people. Come a long way. To come a long way is when, yeah, exactly, Fabrizio, to be the leader. Yeah. To come a long way is the process from being bad at something to being good at something. So the process of being unsuccessful to being very successful. To come a long way. Leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds is to improve by a lot. The verb is to come on leaps and bounds normally. Move up in the world is an idiom to become more successful. Normally with the connotation of being rich. And the idiom from rags to riches, the idea of becoming rich when you were poor. For example, Cinderella. Cinderella, the princess with the evil stepmother, went from rags to riches. Let's try the activity. Number 1, Jane has in her career. Jane has in her career. What do you think the answer is to number 1? Jane has in her career. Number 1, Jane has. What do we think? Number 1, come a long way. Okay, come a long way. The difference between come a long way and move up in the world we see later. Okay. Jane has come a long way in her career. It's the transition. At the moment, she is for an important promotion at work. Okay. So now we use the 3 synonyms, either ahead of the pack, front runner, or top dog. The meaning is she is number 1, but because of the sentence structure, we use a certain word. We use a certain idiom. The answer, the front runner. Okay, well done, everyone, for an important promotion at work. Jane says it is both her work ethic and her positive attitude that put her. What do we think for number 3? her positive work ethic, her work ethic and her positive attitude that put her, what do we think? That put her ahead of the pack. Nice. Well done. That put her ahead of the pack. Okay. Her work ethic and her positive attitude, they make her number one. Okay. Jane grew up in a poor family. So her success is a true story. Jane grew up in a poor family, so her success is a true story. A clue for this one? Like Cinderella, her success is a, well done, Sarah. Her success is a rags to riches story. Rags to riches story. The story of Jane being poor to being rich. Jane admits that it feels great to... Ooh, well done, Sarah. What do we think for number 5? Jane admits that it feels great to and have more. Rags is bad clothes, but in this context, rags is a representation for being poor. Okay, nice. Admits that it feels great to move up in the world and have more money and status. Well done. Lovely answers. But she also believes that her greatest achievement is her courage. Her confidence has grown in... Well done, yeah. In leaps and bounds. Okay. The idiom leaps and bounds, to improve by a lot. Any questions? Or is everything clear? Let's continue. Remember, if you have any questions, please write in the comment section and I can try and help you. Measuring success. How is success being measured with the following idioms? Is it in relation to others, in relation to somebody's past, or from a starting point in the past to the present moment? Leaps and bounds together is an idiom for improve by a lot, but to leap is a synonym of to jump, and to bind is a completely different verb. Leaps and bounds, a leap is the action to jump. In this context, bounds would be a unit of measurement, but together they are an idiom for improving by a lot. So leaps and bounds. Do we think it is an idiom in relation to others, in relation to somebody's past, or from a starting point in the past to the present moment? What do you think? Is it 1, 2, or 3 for leaps and bounds? What do we think for leaps and bounds? Leaps and bounds? Number 3. So, for example, she has improved by leaps and bounds. The moment she started her work to the present moment in her work, she has improved in leaps and bounds. Okay. Rags to riches, what do we think? Rags to riches, what do we think? Rags and riches, what do we think? 1, 2, or 3? Rags to riches, number 2. Okay, number 2. Rags to riches, in the past, she was rich. Then, in the past, she was poor. Then she was rich. Okay. Don't worry if you make a mistake. Learning a language is about making mistakes, so don't worry. The front runner, what do we think for the front runner? What do we think for the front runner? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Okay, yeah, nice answers, everyone. Number 1, if you are the front runner, you are better than other people. To move up in the world. Rags to riches, it can be both number 2 and number 3, but only if in the present moment she is still rich. When we say rags to riches, it means in the past she was poor. Now, maybe she is not rich, but she is not as poor. So rags to riches is definitely number 2, but maybe it can be number 3. Move up in the world. What do we think for move up in the world? Move up in the world, number 1, number 2, or number 3? To move up in the world, number 2. For example, in the past, in New York, for example, in the past, I lived in the Bronx. Now, they live in the Upper East Side. So they are moving up in the world. In the past, a bad area. Maybe now they live in an okay area. Or maybe they live in a very good area. Okay. Top dog. What do we think for top dog? Top dog, ahead of the pack, are synonyms for front runner. Top dog. Number 1. Number 1. come a long way. What do we think for to come a long way? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? To come a long way. Number 3. Okay. So she's come a long way in her career. When she started her career, she was here. Now she is here. And the last one ahead of the pack is number 1. Like top dog and like ahead of the pack. And like front runner, sorry. Everything clear? If you have any questions, please write down and I can try and answer you. Let's continue then. Okay. So now we can try the phrasal verbs with out. For example, outperform is to perform better than someone else. The example, Dan sold more cars this month than his colleagues. He really outperformed his workmates. Outrun, outsmart, outshine, outdo yourself, and to stand out. All phrasal verbs using out. Okay. To outrun is, for example, when you move faster than someone else, or when you develop faster than someone. So, for example, the marathon runner won the marathon because he outran his opponents. The past simple of outrun is outran. To outrun is to move faster or develop faster than someone else, than other people. Outsmart, to outsmart someone is to use your intelligence to gain an advantage. For example, to win in chess, you need to outsmart your opponent. To win in chess, you need to outsmart your opponent. Outshine. Outshine is like outperform. Outshine is to do better compared to someone else. For example, Dan sold more cars this month than his colleagues. He really outshone his workmates. Outshone and outperform are synonyms. To outdo yourself. To outdo yourself is when you, for example, it's when you do more than the expectation. To outdo yourself, do more than the expectation. So Dan sold 8 cars this month. He really outdid himself. Okay. To outdo yourself is when you do more than your own expectations or more than someone else's expectations. To stand out is when you are more noticeable than someone else. If everyone in the room wears a red t-shirt and there is one boy in a blue t-shirt, then the boy in blue stands out. Is everything clear? Try and write your own examples using outrun or outsmart or outshine or outdo yourself or stand out. Try and write your own examples. Try and write your own examples. For example, I outran my friends in the race. I outsmarted my brother when we played chess. I outshone my colleagues with my presentation. I outdid myself when I cooked for 8 people. And I stood out when I wore a brown shirt. Try and write your own examples. Okay. When I was a school student, I never stood out from my classmates. Nice, good example of stand out. Let's continue. Okay. We continue with this slide. The sky's the limit. Answer the following questions. Have you ever read a book or watched a film about a rags to riches story? Explain the story. So, for example, a lot of the Disney stories are rags to riches stories. For example, Aladdin is the epitome of a rags to riches story. In the beginning, he is a thief with no money, and at the end of the story, he is a prince with a princess and a kingdom. Ooh, last week I ran 7 kilometers. I outdid myself. Lovely example. Well done, Fabrizio. Really nice. Number 2. Do you think it is easy for people to move up in the world? What is easy or hard about it? I think it is very difficult to move up in the world because there are circumstances that prevent you moving up in the world, because there exists still prejudice and bigotry Some people don't like the idea of someone new, and therefore it can be difficult to move up in the world. Okay. Number 3. When you think about the top dog in a workplace, what type of person is he or she? I think when you think of a top dog, I think the overwhelming idea is that he or she is passionate, dedicated, and she can push herself further and she can do more than everyone else. Okay. What do you think? What rags to riches stories can you think of? And what type of person do you think a top dog in a workplace is? A rags to riches story, think Cinderella, think Aladdin. A top dog, think the best person in your workplace. Okay, since there are only a few minutes left, we are going to do a little revision of today. The idioms of today: leaps and bounds, when you improve a lot. For example, your English has improved by leaps and bounds because of my English school. Rags to riches is when you are poor and you become rich. For example, Aladdin or Cinderella. The front runner, the top dog, and the one ahead of the pack, they all mean the leader, the number one. To move up in the world is to become more successful. For example, I moved from the Bronx to the Upper East Side in New York. I've really moved up in the world. Ah, the top dog in a workplace is sometimes the teacher's pet. Sometimes. Hopefully not, but it is a difficult line to walk. And to come a long way is the improvement you've made from a specific point in the past to now. To outperform is to perform better than someone else. To outrun is to move or develop faster than someone else. For example, I outran my competitors in the race. Outsmart is when you use your intelligence to gain an advantage. For example, I outsmarted my brother when we played chess. Outshine is a synonym for outperform. To outdo yourself is when you do more than your expectations. And to stand out is to be noticeably different. Okay. If you have any questions, please write in the comments and I can try and answer them. If not, thank you for this lesson and thank you for your participation and your answers and comments. Okay? Hopefully, the situation will change and we can have normal lessons soon. But for now, thank you and bye bye.